the Mars and cars now, whichever get up. I thought my scars with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag it up. So, it's another one, yeah, it's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one, yeah.
Yo.
I don't know why that carried on playing and it came off the screen, but welcome back everyone to episode 5. Why have I got a replay on there?
Glitch.
That's why. I've got it playing in background. Oh God, here we go. Welcome back to episode 5 of the recap. We'll be going through the Harper versus Zimmerman. I can't say that name still.
Zimmerman.
And Taylor versus Essuman. Before we get into it, we'll just go to the D-Rock promo. Yo, what's up, people? I'm here tonight with, as usual, Ricky at the bottom, and we're joined by Aaron Beach today from Switch It as Custom. Oh, bloody hell. Switch It to Custom. He designs trainers, boxers' boots as well. He's designed a lot of boxers' boots, actually, as it stands. He did Terry Harper's for her last fight, as well as Dave Allen's last fight as well. Yeah, no, Dave Allen's last fight.
Dave's not had some for a while, but we did Dave's for the Lucas Brown fight and the David Price fight.
There we go.
It's a good fight to do them for.
Yeah.
Aaron, if you just want to tell people about your business and what you do, mate.
Yeah, so I've got Switch It Customs with Junior Witter, who some people might know, former world champion. So he's my business partner, Junior. And basically we've been up and running about 6 or 7 years now. Started off, obviously we used to work together, didn't we, Eric? So yeah. I started off still starting up the business whilst I still worked there. And that kicked off. And then when I left work, eventually I got so busy I had to leave. The boxing boots took off, and then we started to get some pros through. And obviously, Junior gave us a bit of a foot in the door with people like Kell Brook, Billy Joe Saunders, Kid Galahad at the time. So we hit the ground running, really, and we were flying. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, and there were no shows. So we had a difficult couple of years, but we've kind of we've been asleep for a little bit, I suppose. We're just getting back into the swing of things really now, and we're picking up again. We're working with another brand in Doncaster as well, Shay's Custom Boxing Wear. They do fight kits for amateurs and pros as well. They're looking to get into the pro game. So we've just teamed up with them recently. So that's give us that's geared us up again, and we're starting to get back on big shows. So obviously we've just done Terry Harper's boots for the weekend. We've done Terry's boots for quite a few years now. So yeah, we're back in the mix, and we're going to be doing some interesting stuff this season, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm just screen sharing. I'm not sure if you can see it. These are some of the boots what Aaron's designed. Obviously, knowing Aaron personally, and when he started this business, it's kind of a full circle that we both ended up doing stuff in boxing. But like I said, up here in the north is where myself, Ricky, CJ, we just want to explore that what's going on in boxing round the north, where because you got all your fighters from London and that they get so much exposure, whereas up here you sort of everyone's scraping, all these fighters are scraping for a bit of exposure unless they're signed with a big promotion. Ricky, do you want to go through the Harper fight card. Who are we going with first?
We can go. Well, we were there, weren't we? So
Yeah.
we didn't get there till just after the Lewis Booth and Joe Hayden fight, which I was watching on the YouTube as we were walking over to the arena. And I tell you what, those fights, the Lewis Booth and Elliot Helliwell boxed. Elliot Helliwell especially boxed really, really well against Stevie Levy. I think Stevie's put out something soon after saying that, you know, she was a bit disappointed with the result, thinking that she won the fight. She's watched it back and she reckons she still won. I thought Ellie boxed really well. Boxed southpaw. She's awkward. She's stylistic. She keeps people on the back foot. She keeps people guessing. Now, the main card that we actually reached when we got there, was it Ed Hardy, the farm boy, who was first? So Adam Smith,
Yes,
we had Adam
it
Smith
was.
on last week, and
It
he was
yeah.
excited about this guy, this fight. So he performed really well. I've watched it back as well. He did come as he told Adam he was going to do. He come to the arena on a tractor. He boxed really well. He doesn't waste much. He's quite strong. He pushes the opponent back. He didn't get the stoppage, which is I think he stopped his last two opponents. But he boxed really well and he's got some rounds in. So I think there's quite a few big things to come from him. His family was there. He's got a good backing. And if Adam Smith rates him, for me, he's someone to definitely look out for because he's been around the game since 1994 before then. So I think he's definitely one to watch.
Aaron, did you watch this fight, that Hardy fight?
Yeah, I watched the Hardy fight, yeah. He dropped the guy, didn't he, in the mid-round? Well, I thought he might...
Fourth round.
Was it fourth round, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought he might get him out of there, but he boxed well. He's been a name that I've been looking out for a while, Ed Hardy, because he's well known on the amateur scene. I thought one of the bigger promoters might pick him up, to be honest, but GBM will do a good job with him, I think. Nice and slow. There's no need to rush him, is there? He's still a young kid.
Yeah, I watched it back. I thought it was a good performance. Like you said, he dropped him in the fourth round. It was a bit of a weird way he went down because I think Hardy caught him on the glove, but his leg sort of went. But apart from that, I thought he boxed really well. I thought he was patient. He let his shots go. He threw the body shots were brilliant. He was in there with a tough guy. The kid was tough, and also he was holding a lot. It was hard for Hardy to get a lot of his work off because as soon as they got in close, that kid was clinching for his life. Which I'm surprised the referee, he got a point taken off for that, but that was quite late on. He got the point taken off, and I felt like
Darwin. He's the guy that really
Say that again, sorry.
That Darwin was the one that was in with Nico Lever beforehand, like only a few weeks back.
Yeah,
was it on the Lee Wood show?
Was it Lou? I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but he was out not long back as well, and he was fighting that Nico Lever, who was a pretty high rated prospect. So he's been around the block. He's been with some tough guys, and he knows how to survive. And he's fighting quite regularly because I think he's got another couple more fights booked as well after this. So obviously, if he gets a stoppage, it's 4 weeks off.
Out, yeah.
So he's built to survive this guy.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it was a good fight for Hardy to go 6 rounds. I think he's only been 4 rounds before because he stopped his last 2 opponents. So it was good for him to go rounds. It was a good performance. There's no complaints really. It's like Aaron says, GBM should do a decent job with him. They'll keep him active. But yeah, I'll just go to the comments before we go to the next fight.
Yeah.
We've got WCS. He says, iBoxingHub, gents, salute to you. Libster, yo, my Yorkshire dudes, how things going? Not bad.
Yeah,
big
good.
Up Ra. Speaking of Ra was also at the venue. We bumped into him. Wasn't expecting to see him because he didn't get his accreditation till like the last minute. So it was good to see Ra. We did take a picture with Ra, which I can't find at the moment. I'm not sure why.
Looking at the Rock with his Undertaker hat. We saw you.
Yeah.
We saw you.
I'll find it in a bit. I'll find the picture in a bit. What else we got? We got Libster. You've not You
Nah,
not
CJ
have the
got some
three
hair.
baldies anymore.
It's been bad
Yeah,
for time.
Aaron's got some hair.
You lost your hair.
Nah, I just wear a hat so they think I'm bald. These two, Ricky and CJ are bald, but I wear a hat all the time anyway. So
I do normally. Thought I'll do my hair.
you've messed up the show now. We're known as the Free Hat Boys.
I'll go and get my hat on.
Nah, I miss Yorkshire already. Pick up, Ra.
Yorkshire misses you, Ra.
What happened? Where did you end up going? Did you end up getting a
He went to
hotel, or
bed.
did you end up going to where was he was going?
He was going to go
Flares?
Flares. He was going to go Flares, weren't he? It was after the Cougars in Flares, and he bottled it and he went to bed.
Maybe he has enough spare hair to lend the three of you.
Not bad for 38, to be
He's
honest.
got a good head of hair.
Oh, God. Why aren't you in Yorkshire, Ra?
He's a savage.
Yeah, so that was the Ed Hardy one. The fight after Ed Hardy was
I think it was Reece Mould and Louis
Reece Mould.
Sylvester.
Great fight, that.
Yeah, what a fight that was. Go on, Ricky. You go first on that one.
Yeah, so this one last week was the one that I will peg in to be the fight of the night, which I think lived up to it. I think it lived up to what I said it was going to be. It was a great fight. I thought Louis Sylvester boxed really, really well. And if he could punch a little bit harder, that guy would be a fucking problem, because he was landing those inside uppercuts all night long. As soon as Reece come in, Reece were coming in underneath the shots, and then boom, uppercut went straight through the middle. Reece is no mug though. Reece is a very talented boxer. I went through, Highfields ABC was where Reece was at when I was younger, and the Plant as well. It battled between the both. Very, very talented kid, boxed all his life. He was very dedicated and still is, out of the Warrington camp. I thought he boxed a really good fight. The other thing I kind of thought is he neglected maybe the body work a little bit. He was the bigger puncher of the two. When he got in, maybe Louis probably did a better job on landing the shots as he came forward, which may have offset Reece's rhythm. But other than that, I mean, and Louis, bearing in mind, we interviewed Louis afterwards, which you can probably see if the link is not in the comments or in the description. It's on our YouTube channel. Check it out. Eric does a good job with that one.
I've got it here. Just a screenshot of it.
He had a broken hand. He broke his hand, didn't he, in one of the rounds? So again, another fighter on the box with one hand, boxed really well. It was a split decision. I have gone back. I've watched it. I do think the right man won. And that is hard for me to say, because I like and know both of these fighters, and I've got a lot of respect for them both. Both suffered heavy cuts. I think Lewis's were from a head clash in the first round, and then Reece's were a little bit thingy on. I thought Reece did well. At the third round, he got caught though. Then we saw that when he got caught with that good shot, and he just stumbled into corner just at the end of the round, came out, maybe won the next couple of rounds nice and composed. But then Louis sort of took over as Reece started to fade. I think his fitness sort of left him a little bit. And we saw Louis is still fresh as a daisy. He could have gone another 12 rounds, that kid, but boxed really well. And I thought the right person won on the night, which is hard for me to say either way.
Yeah, I watched it back. I actually watched it back today, about an hour or so ago. And that fight, when we was there, it was a good fight. It looked a good fight, but watching it back, I didn't realize how quick Lewis's hands were. His jab was firing out. He had really quick hands. The first round, I think I gave Louis the first round just nicking it. The second round was a lot closer. The third round, when Louis obviously nearly dropped Reece, and I thought, oh, Reece is hurt here. What's he going to do? But like he said, he came back and fought really well. And by the end of the fight, I felt like you know Dissa, don't you, Aaron? From Wabtec. He was there, obviously mates with Reece, and he was asking me, what do I think? And I said, to be honest with you, I don't think Reece has done enough. I have a feeling they're going to call it a split decision, because I think one judge at least will give it to Reece because he's at home. And for sure, as soon as they mentioned the first guard, I was like, I called it. But I was holding my breath because I wasn't sure they was going to give it to Louis. But they did the right thing. I thought Louis won it. It was a great fight, really good fight. Probably fight of the night. Both fighters gave it all. Reece unlucky, but he put up a valiant effort. But like I say, I got an interview with Lewis after that. He did break his hand in the 3rd round, so did well to continue the fight and eventually win the fight with that. So fair play to both men in that one.
Yeah, before the fight, I thought Mold might take that. So I'm impressed with Sylvester because the last time I actually watched him against Noakes, and he kind of got blasted out in that. I know there's levels, but I weren't sure he could meet Mold head on and get through the fight. So I was impressed. His footwork and his jab, like you say, were brilliant. And I had him winning by two rounds. Yeah, really good performance, and he can kick on now. There's no reason he can't win a British title. If the right opponent, he can definitely kick on and win a British title without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it looked really good. Watching it back on there, I thought it was close. Like I said, watching it back, I felt like the right person definitely won the fight. He impressed me. Like I said, I don't think I've seen him since the Sam Noakes fight, really, or paid much attention. But it was a really good performance. Where do you think Reese goes from here? As Ricky,
it's a difficult one, isn't it? I'm not sure how old is he. Is he about 30, Reese?
About 30.
Yeah.
He's had some tough fights, hasn't he? Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, like you say, he's boxed all his life. It's all he probably knows. I expect to see him out again, but it's whether or not he's happy now at area level. But yeah, I mean, he's an acid test for anybody coming through, isn't he? So
yeah,
there's shows for him to be on. He's always in exciting fights. He's a tough kid. I think he'll be probably more at same, to be honest. I think he'll be around this level for a few years, and then when he's had enough, hasn't he? But I certainly don't think he should be calling it a day if he feels fresh enough, because that were a great performance. And like I say, Sylvester inspired, wasn't he? Were a great performance by him, great performance by Reese. I can't see. I mean, I'd like to see that again, maybe someday. Sylvester deserves to go on and have a shot at something a bit bigger now. But if we see that again in 18 months, 2 years time, why not?
You got to think as well. It's like Lewis is the younger man in there, only by about 3 years. But Reese has been, like if we say, Reese has been at a higher level. He's fought Lee Wood. Is it Gary Cully, Ryan Walsh? He's been through some very tough tests, and he has proven it against Lee Wood. And I think who were it now? Gary Cully. I'm sure. Is it Gary Cully?
Yeah.
Where he argued that he may have even won that fight.
Yeah.
So, and he were outboxing Lee Wood ever so slightly. It was up on the cards against Lee Wood, and he got knocked down, I think, once or twice, and he was still up on the cards. Even if you go through and look at the old cards, he was still up. So it shows you the level of boxer he really is. I think he currently is at English level. He's only 30. I think he's still got quite a bit more to offer, and I still think he could reach the level Lewis is going to be going on towards. It went his night on the night. It will probably beat into the punch a little bit. Every time he came in, like I said, Lewis he had that movement, he had those flows, he had those combinations, that uppercut landing all night. So if he can go back, learn from that, he's got a great team. Same team as Maxie Hughes, Josh Warrington. I think he can come back, definitely do something at English level, 100%. But I also believe that he could still reach that British level if he wants to, if he's still got it in him. I think he will do. I know he were humming and ahhing, I think it was a couple of years ago, whether or not to call it a day or not. So maybe those thoughts are there, but I feel like he shouldn't lose too much morale on this loss, because it was close. It was close. And he can come again, like big time. I think he can.
Yeah. For me, like Aaron said, it was a good performance. Sometimes you lose in a good performance. You go back and you watch the fight and you just think, you know what, on that day, that man was just a little bit better than I was. Reese has glowing, like what people have to say about Reese in sparring, you know what I mean? It's glowing. He should be, like Josh Warrington said, he should be at a higher level. What they're watching sparring, he should be at a high level. Is he a gym fighter? We don't know. It just might be that he can't get them performances out of him on a Saturday night or a Friday night, wherever it is. But But I do think he's a good fight. I think he's an acid test for anybody coming through in and around this level. Anyway, and he's got a following, Reese. Wherever he goes, he's got a bit of a backing as well.
Just to touch on that sparring, Eric. Mm-hmm. He was sparring one of my pals, Dom Hunt, last year. Yeah. And Dom really rated Reese. And that was before the Cully fight. So I don't know if he was his main sparring partner for the Cully fight, but I thought he won that fight. And I know he gave Dom some hard spars. So like you say, is he just not clicking on the night? Maybe, I don't know, but it's interesting.
You can see the talents there, though. You can see the abilities there. I don't know what it is, but like I said, that fight itself on Friday night, I don't think it's so much what he did. He did so much wrong in that fight, whereas Lewis was just that bit better than him on the night, in my opinion. The next one we've got
Taz Nadeem, I think, the next one.
Nadeem, where is
Bahadur Karami.
Yep.
That one was Taz Nadeem came out, gave me very Mike Tyson vibes when I got home, or the day after anyway, I should say, when I got home. I had my son and constantly going on about Taz Nadeem's legs. Dad, check his legs out. His legs are huge. Because we unfortunately for me and Eric, we was at the bar getting a bottle of Pepsi. No, because honestly, we have never had an issue trying to find a route to get to be able to buy a bottle of Pepsi.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
We couldn't get around.
We were arguing with security guards and everything. Yeah. Everything. But so we missed most of this fight, and then obviously I've gone back and watched it. The way he comes out, the way he ring walks, very Mike Tyson-esque. I thought he had the black robe, he had the black shorts at the bottom anyway, until I saw the silver as well. He's a big puncher. First few rounds, I thought, he's going to get this guy out of there. He was doing some big, heavy shots. This guy did survive, though. Is it Adam Azim or Dan Aziz? I think he fought recently, Karami, and he survived him. So Taz Nadeem, I thought he came on strong, but then he sort of blew a gasket a little bit through the mid rounds. He showed good boxing display, boxing ability, but he started getting caught quite a lot. And that Karami at one point, I thought, started to even fancy it a little bit. And I think the guys had I'd have to go on his record here and see how many losses, 29 losses. So I enjoyed the fight. I thought the fight was good. I don't think Nadeem needs to be getting into those types of scraps, though, that early on in his career against people like Karami, who's just there for the money, there to survive. Because Karami, like I said, at one point, when Nadeem started blowing, started fancying it a little bit, started landing shots, and Nadeem were getting caught. I don't know if we were a bit too stiff, maybe when he got tired, a bit heavy on his feet. Like I say, his legs are fucking huge. Could bench press a car with them. But there's a lot of things. He's got some work. He's got some stuff to work on. Maybe just try not to blast everybody out. I think his first few fights before then were very early round knockouts and stoppages. So it was good probably for him to get some rounds in and see how he dealt with that. And he'll probably learn a lot from that as well. But yeah, overall impressed with him. I thought his boxing ability for somebody his stature and his build was pretty good and pretty decent, and his shot selection was really well. So yeah, I thought quite good.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he boxed well. Like you said, I think he thought he could get in there and bang this guy out when he was landing. But like Ra says here, Kareem is a dangerous journeyman. Sometimes these journeymen, they aren't there to just get knocked over. They're there to give you, like Ed Hardy had. They had was it Rodriguez or Gomez, whoever he was fighting. They're there to give you rounds, and that's exactly what happened to Nadeem. He boxed well, got caught a few times, but you can't go swimming without getting wet at the end of the day. And if you're going to get caught and learn something, you might as well learn it now against these journeymen and fix it before you get to the level.
That's it, mate. Play with feathers, get your ass tickled.
Yeah, interesting physique, really. I mean, it's he's a little stocky powerhouse, but you've got to be really fit, haven't you, to carry that kind of muscle in a ring. God knows how tired he must be carrying those legs. So I think it's early days, and he's had a kid there push him a bit. Yeah, I think it's a win, isn't it? But yeah, there were moments where you thought, right, could he be stopped here because he's starting to tire? So maybe he has to look at maybe taking some of that muscle off. Whether or not that drop him down in weight or not, or if that's something he's interested in doing, I don't know. But for me, he is quite muscle bound, isn't he? So as he progresses and gets through the levels, that could see him come unstuck. He's just that engine. You've got to be super fit to carry that kind of muscle. And he did look like he was tiring a little bit towards the end. The guy was tough though, and a very, very good journeyman. So all in all, a win's a win, and it was a pretty good performance, really, I thought.
Yeah. That Karami is always in your face as well. Like you watch him, even against it was Dan Aziz. He's always in your face. He's always in people's faces. He's always pressuring. So he's not the typical journeyman. So he probably was there to be a bit of a grit test for Taz, who's been blasting people out to see what he's made of. And in the day, he overcame it. So fair play to him. And like you say, there's things he needs to work on. And hopefully when he comes out next time, he'll be fitter.
Has he got much amateur experience? Because he doesn't seem to. What sports he come from? He's obviously not a boxer previously, is he?
I think my wife said he's got something to do with like triathlete, but he's from the Millennium Gym in Rotherham. So he has got an amateur background. I'm not too sure about amateur. I didn't really ask him. My son's actually sparring at his gym, not next week, the week after. So I think our Leo's looking out for him. But I think he's quite a bit of a bright amateur. So, but I wouldn't be able to tell you that because I don't really know.
Definitely got power, hasn't he? Definitely got power.
Yeah, big puncher.
Yeah, you've got to with legs like that. Bloody hell! If you haven't got power, you're doing something wrong. We'll go on to the next fight. The next fight of the night, we had
Jimmy Joe.
Jimmy Joe.
Haytham and Lamuz. Yeah, so this one, bit of a heartbreaker to watch. First round, you see what Jimmy's trying to achieve, his combinations, his flurries, he's more articulate and quality of shot selection and punch rates. His combinations flow so well as well, Jimmy's. That first round, I thought he looked really, really good. Then the second round, man, just that tricep. Obviously, we were like talking, weren't we? Is it his shoulder? I thought it might have been his hand. Yeah, and then we spoke to his coach, Ray Doyle, at the end, and he said it torn his tricep. So for me, it was one of those, obviously, I watched it back as well. And there comes a time where I think, Jimmy Joe is really good. He's really talented. But it's just, it's 8 hard rounds of one hand action. Like, he must have had the fucking stiffest left arm in the morning ever. But I tell you what, though, fair play to him because the jab, the hooks, the uppercuts, he was managed to land combos just off of one arm. You imagine if he had 2 hands, because if Haytham would have been the bigger puncher, I think Jimmy Joe would have been in a lot of trouble because there were times where Lamuz, especially in the early rounds, was cutting the ring off, was landing. Jimmy Joe was more like, I think he was in that much pain, he was focusing on the pain, he was keeping his guard, he was keeping tight, he was getting caught with shots, whereas if Lamuz had that little bit more power, I think Jimmy would have been in trouble. But when Lamuz started tiring, Jimmy Joe started putting in some work, and towards the end of the rounds, he was winning those rounds. Just the jabs, the hooks, the uppercuts, everything. It was just really, really good display. Now, I wouldn't have argued it either or, whereas if he'd have pulled him out in that second round, I know he's got a big back in there, he had a lot of hands there. I'd have pulled him out. Personally, if it were me, I'd have probably pulled him out and be like, you know what, let's live to fight another day. A torn triceps, no laughing matter. I can completely disfigure your arm for life. And it's a surgery, he's going to be out for a while probably with that. But I mean, fair play for him to staying in that ring and giving us another 8 rounds of not even covering up and trying to survive. He was trying to win that fight with one hand. And one of them, I think, scored it ridiculous rounds, but I thought he did a really good job, especially towards the end. With one hand, you can't ask much more than what he did. That's guts, determination. That's a real warrior in that ring. You cannot. And the only problem I have is people are going to look at that fight who've not seen it and thought, oh, he beat Campbell at him. He's stepped up again and got beat. And that is not the story of that loss at all. So for anybody that's seen the result but not seen the fight and just thought Jimmy Joe's lost when he's trying to step up, watch that fight because it does not that result does not tell you the story at all.
Yeah, I feel for Jimmy Joe. A lot of my mates are mates with him. We've got mutual friends. Hopefully, Jimmy's going to come on the show. I've spoke to him. He said he will come on. I felt for him because, like you said, Ricky, the first round he looked really good. He was nice and light on his feet. He was letting his shots go. Looked really good. The second round, same again, going as usual, and then you just saw him flex his shoulder and sort of stop. And I said to you straight away, I was like, he's done his shoulder. He's done his shoulder. And for him to box another 8 rounds like that, fair play to him. Like you said, he could have been pulled out at any point because he couldn't use that right. He couldn't use that arm at all. But yeah, I'm getting interrupted by my son. As usual.
Not sure, mate, if he's not making a guest appearance.
I know. Hiya, what are you doing?
And what did you think of the fight?
Yeah, go on, Az.
He's got no luck, has he, Jimmy Joe? He just got cut in his last fight, didn't he? And took a defeat after Campbell hat.
So he fought Campbell hat in the first time. Yeah, and then he fought Chris Boyd in the step up.
Yeah.
He got caught. The cut bothered him seriously because that was another one where like Jimmy Joe fought so well. I went and watched that back on YouTube because I went at the event and he boxed so well. Just no luck on that one. Then he fought Campbell again, beat him again, and then
so it was in between, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the tricep on this one.
I mean, I thought he dislocated his shoulder at first, which I've actually done sparring, and I know how much that hurts. So anybody who carries on with a dislocated shoulder, respect to him. But I think he's just done the muscle
tricep, torn the tricep in between.
Torn ligament.
Yeah, so he's torn it. So it's like
that's extremely painful as well. So to fight on with that's amazing. I think had it not been at Doncaster Rovers, I think they'd have pulled him out. But I think it's probably Jimmy Joe's dream to box there because he's a Rovers fan. Yeah. So there's absolutely no way on earth they'd have pulled it. He'd have let them pull him out that fight. But I agree with you. If it were me and that were my fighter, I'd have pulled him. But you got to look at the situation where it's his dream venue. He's probably never going to get a chance to box at Eco Power again. And that kid, it looked like you say, luckily he weren't a puncher because if he was, I think Jimmy Joe would have been in trouble with that one arm. But the way he came back into the fight in the last few rounds and he hit him with an uppercut, double left up, was it? Double right? Which hand was he?
It was his left hand. Yeah.
So he's hitting with double hook and uppercut, and I thought he were going to get him out of there, like Danny Williams style.
If he had a right hand, he would have done. And I feel like Jimmy could have got him out of there if he had both hands for the fight, because the first round, how it was going, how the second round was going, and how he was able to throw combinations just with one arm, with the left hook to the body, uppercut. He was using all the variations the left hand could use, and had he have two, I feel like Izzy and GBM and that needs to just get that rematch because you could clearly see what happened. So for me, I think Jimmy. Go on.
Why didn't that guy target his arm? Like Canelo did with Smith.
Yeah, the shoulder. Yeah,
I know. It's a fight, innit? You've got to do what you got to do to win. If that had been me, I'd have been going for that arm, nothing else.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think a rematch. Hopefully, Jimmy can get that rematch. He has got a good following. Jimmy, he had a lot of people there. Yeah. And like Ricky said, you don't want to be pulled out when it's your dream venue. His ring walk was brilliant as well. So yeah, I really do feel for Jimmy. Hopefully, he'll be back once that injuries thing and he can get a rematch.
Yeah,
I've really damaged his arm any further, don't you? Boxing on with it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was my major concern with.
He threw it like 2 more times from the second round. I really didn't see him throw it at all. Really,
I think he threw it. He threw it early on, and I saw him.
Yeah, he tried. He tried, and it went out. I said to Ricky, when he tried because I said he's not throwing it, and as I said that, he threw it.
Yeah, he threw that right hand, didn't he? But
he threw it, and he threw it then, and I was like, barely.
Yeah,
It's
I
good
think like what as said, if the moves had started targeting that arm, it might have ended up being a bit of a different story because you don't want the damage to worsen. And he weren't throwing it, and he weren't ever like he was struggling, but I don't know. Fair play to him, and the thing is I say I'd have pulled him out. Obviously, in reality, I don't know what I would have done in that situation. And I'll take
Yeah, it
nothing away
depends on
from
what
like
your
his
fighter's
corners,
saying to you.
Ray Doyle, Jason Cunningham, very experienced coaches and managers. So, end of the day, they had faith in their man, and they've got every reason to do that because Jimmy Joe, I've seen him spar Padley, I've seen him spar Sylvester, the gifted fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's not obviously he's not where he wants to be currently in his career, but there's no reason why he can't climb that English to British, or English, definitely English at this moment in time. But I mean that one for the IBO Continental title, so that could have elevated him even further. So I'm a bit good for him, but I think he will get the rematch because surely the moves can't have been. I mean, he were happy, bless him, and he was crying, weren't he? But he beat
And
a guy one arm.
also Jimmy's the promoter's fighter in this.
Yeah,
Jimmy's the
I can
one
see him getting that rematch.
who's fighter.
Did you actually score the fight? Because I couldn't score it because I was just fixated on his arm. And
yeah, no, I didn't.
I didn't actually score it. I was just amazed by how he could carry on.
Yeah,
no,
so it was one of those where we at the show at the event we were that.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were like that, like busy up and down trying to like get content, weren't we? Up and down. Mate, when you do those shows as media, it's like quite difficult to watch those fights to be fair because you try and do bits. But I went and watched back. I scored the Reese Mold and Sylvester fight because that was split, and I kind of like the controversial ones. But with that one being unanimous, I didn't really bother.
No, I didn't watch it back.
I
I watched it. I didn't score it. I watched it back, but didn't score it. I just wanted to see how, because I don't think we didn't catch the end of it. I think we was interviewing.
I was interviewing Dalton.
Was it Dalton who was interviewing at that time?
Yeah.
We didn't catch the end.
Oh no,
of
it
it.
weren't.
No, it was Leo.
Dalton. Well, Leo Tan,
yeah. So we didn't catch the end. So when I was watching it, I just wanted to see how well he actually did. With a one arm, because from what way we saw, I think we saw up to like round 6 maybe, before we went and did the couple of interviews live, and we was like, he's not going to win this fight at this point because he's clearly got one arm. I just wonder how long can he stay in it, and the fact that he stayed in there the full fight and then going and watch it back and how well he actually did, because like Ricky said, if you don't watch the fight and you just hear, oh, he's gone 12 rounds and lost the decision, you sort of think, all right. But then you watch the fight and you realize actually Jimmy did pretty well. He did really pretty well for a guy with one arm. And fair play to him. But now we're going to go on to the co-main and the main event, which if the night had finished at Jimmy Joe, at Jimmy Joe's injury, and that was the last fight of the night, I don't think many people would have complained. For a couple of reasons, really, before we get into it. Firstly, the walkout times at that show, they messed up. They really did mess up because that went on way too late. I think Terry walked out at like 11:30. It was
gone just 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it was mad. It was just too long. People were getting fed up. A lot of people had left as well. Obviously, people were there to see Maxi, obviously stayed, but a lot of people had left because you had the likes of Reese Mold, who had a decent crowd, who sold a lot of tickets. You had Jimmy who sold a lot of tickets as well. And you had other fighters, Ed Hardy, he sold it, and he was the first fight. He was one of the first fights on the card. So those fighters who are very popular around Donny, who had people there, all their fans, a lot of their fans sort of went because one, it was getting late because there were still kids out there. My mate, he was with his daughter, who were leaving the venue at 12:30. It was mental. And secondly, this co-main event, I feel for Maxi Hughes, I really do, because Archie Sharp did not come to fight, in my opinion. I don't know why he turned up. I don't know what the situation is, but for me, I don't know why he turned up, because he didn't do anything in the fight. Go on, Ricky. You can break down what you saw.
Pretty much that. You had Archie Sharp it was a difficult fight. I think Maxi Hughes, in his early days, he probably deals with that a little bit better than what he were able to do. 35, you've got to wonder how much legs are in it, but it's fair play. I mean, fair play was chasing tail all night long. That Archie Sharp, it was on the back foot. He wasn't doing much. Everything he landed, it was cuffed, it was slaps, it was. The game plan must have been to stay away, inside, get in, whip off a couple of combinations, get back out. But it just didn't end up being like that. And Maxi Hughes must have been so frustrated because he's got his home crowd, he's in his hometown, big stadium fight, and he just couldn't cut the ring off. Like, he's older, he's not got the same legs, he's not got the same output that he used to have, and it didn't show his age in there. But Archie Sharp just so negative. It was such a difficult. He had the monkey. At one point, he had the monkey guard, which I can't stand that guard. I hate that fucking guard so much. I just do it all the time, and I hate that guard. Then he got tagged. Every time he tagged, he'd do the crisscross, the shuffle. It was on the back foot always. He'd stand and trade, get caught a couple of times, get hurt, and then he'd back off again. And it just must. Maxi Hughes is not a massive puncher, so it's one of those where there weren't a reason why Archie Sharp had to box like that. He could have boxed a bit more closer, kept it at range. Fair enough, if that's what you want to do. You're a sharpshooter for a reason, but be a bit more in. You got to be a bit more in the pocket than that, and be a bit more active. He absolutely everything that everybody were looking forward to for this fight, like, because this was going to promise to be a good one. He just drowned it all. He put a damper on everything, and I was very, very disappointed. And I'm all for, boxing is about getting hit, hitting, sorry, and not getting hit. But that was taking it to a whole new level. Now he thought he won the fight pretty clearly. His hands were up. He was celebrating like mad. Warrington, Maxi Hughes and Warrington's corner, they were a bit less dubious. They weren't sure if they'd done enough, and I can see why. Because
what I think it was? I think Maxi was just fuming. I don't think it was not happy in the fight. I think he was pissed off because when Maxi was walking out, they was just about to interview him, and I was walking to meet you. And I could hear Maxi saying, "What the fuck was this? Like, why did he even turn up? Basically, why did he even turn up? He's in his own, obviously Maxi's in his hometown, and Archie just didn't do anything. He didn't try to. Every time he got tagged, he would showboat, which was weird.
Yeah, it made no sense.
And then he'd stick his tongue out a bit, and I was just like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And it was such when we was there, obviously there, you sat there just thinking, when is this going to end? When is this fight going to end? You're just hoping that land something. Go on, Az.
It was infuriating to watch. So God knows how Maxi felt in ring, because I was impressed with Maxi. I mean, he's a bit of an old boy now, isn't he, in terms of his career? But he were really measured when he did find an opening to attack, which there weren't many of because Sharp were never in range. He landed, didn't he? And he picked his shots that he could land perfectly. I thought they were really difficult night's work, but he came through. And I love the judge not giving Sharp any rounds. I just thought
I said it. I called that as well. We was
because he didn't deserve anything.
I said he did not deserve a single round. I said he done 12 rounds. There's no way.
I don't agree with the card because I think a few of those rounds were.
I agree with that card.
I agree with it though, in the terms of I'm glad he didn't get a thing because he didn't deserve it, but there were a few 10 rounds in there. That was it.
Well, then we'll go to the last one on this card. Obviously Terry back in action, defending a world title against I still can't say that name, and I ain't trying to
Zimmerman.
Zimmer. Zimmer.
Why did you go out to that? That just perfect.
I know that she missed the trick there, to be fair.
Yeah.
and big up Rav as well. Sharp probably won't get another opportunity after that. Probably not.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. I don't ever want to see him again, ever.
Yeah.
I used to rate Sharp when he was coming through too. I thought he were great.
Yeah. This is the thing. We were speaking on it last week, and I said I'm not sure what to expect from Archie Sharp because I remember when he was coming through and it was like he's supposed to be fighting Shakur. He's mandatory for Shakur at 126, and I was like waiting for Archie to step up, and then he didn't get that fight, and then another fight fell through, and it was like he sort of just disappeared into underground, and then he's popped up again, and I thought, you know what? I don't know what to expect from him, but I know what to expect from Maxi. I picked Maxi UD because I don't really think Maxi's got that power to stop somebody like that. And I thought Archie is sharp on his feet. He's quite good on his feet. He'll be able to keep it long, but not box like he did. Definitely not box like he did.
It was the showboating, wasn't it? They're getting hit and then showboating afterwards. That would just
that was strange. That was very strange. Zimmerman, for me, Ricky, what did you make of her?
I said last week, I said it was one of those where I didn't want to judge her career because obviously I'm British. I'm just the British level fighters. I didn't want to go on about someone's career because I don't know what their level of regions or opponents are like. But I think like she sort of proved everything that I kind of dreaded. She weren't on the same level. She turned up. She was a former kickboxer. She had that wide guard. She had that awkward guard, and Terry were able to pick through it all night long. So Terry was just too much on another level compared to speed. She was on point. She hurt Zimmerman a couple of times. The one thing I want to discuss really is Terry's performance boxing wise. Absolutely faultless. She is such a good boxer. So fit, carried the pace all the way through the night. Shot selection was on point. Combinations were on point. She was aggressive. My thing is that I dread for is obviously when she's called out Caroline after the fight is the fact that she gets hit every now and again, and if she hasn't got the power to keep Caroline off of her, I feel like she's probably she would outbox Caroline Dubois, and I'm a big fan of Caroline Dubois, but I don't think she's got the power to be able to deal with Dubois, and it's if Dubois tags her. What is her recovery going to be like? Because we've seen Terry Harper in some great fights, and there's been fights where she's been tagged, and she sometimes struggles to recover that little bit. Zimmerman, I kind of thought she just swept her to one side. If she had a bit more power, she'd have probably stopped her. She should have stopped her. I'd have liked to have seen the stoppage for the call out for Dubois. We didn't get that. It is what it is. That's boxing. She had a great performance. Yeah, I don't have much bad to say about it negative other than she didn't force a stoppage. I thought she boxed really, really well.
Yeah, for me, how she boxed was never a thing. Like you said, I feel like the level of opponent what I saw in there with her, I felt like Terry should have stopped her because that girl looked like it was a first sparring session. Like her 1-2, Ricky, we could see it coming from a mile away. It was so slow. Like it was. The only thing I could think is that she's just tough, and Terry's not a massive puncher, and that's the only reason why she couldn't get her out of there. But for me, that opponent, like you said, you're calling out Dubois next. For me, you needed to stamp an approval on that performance with a stoppage. She almost got it in the last few seconds of the round.
A nasty cut as well, weren't they, on Zimmerman?
For the women with only 2 minutes. You know what I mean? That girl like that, you put her in there with for 3 minutes. She ain't going the rounds. But yeah, I would have liked to see a stoppage from Terry on that. That's the only downside of that performance for me. The Caroline fight, I feel like boxing ability wise, Terry can hang with her. The problem is, one, Terry's scared of getting hit now. She doesn't like getting hit now. She still does get hit, but how she goes in, that's why she's not committing to those shots. I feel like that's one of the reasons why she couldn't get the Zimmerman there, because she was just scared to get hit clean. Going on to the Caroline Dubois fight, the Dubois fight is one of those that early on in that fight, there's going to be a storm. Early in that fight, from round 1 to about round 5, there's going to be a storm. If Terry can use her legs and keep away from Caroline's power, I give her a chance in the fight. because I saw the last fight of Caroline. Performance-wise, very good. Late on in the fight, when she already used the first half of the fight to try and blast this girl out, and she didn't get her out of there. Whether she'll learn from it or not, I'm just going off the last performance. Like, if she's in there with Terry blowing like she was against that last opponent, she would get beat, in my opinion. You can't be in there with a world level opponent and gas out like Caroline was. But the same thing in opposite is, if Terry doesn't keep away from Caroline and she gets hit flush by Caroline, she will go to sleep, unfortunately. And I'm a massive fan of both these women.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard.
Massive fan of both of them. Obviously, Terry being from Donny and what paid close attention to her.
I've done hill sprints with Terry on a Saturday morning.
I've interviewed Caroline. I mean, both of them very good fighters, but for me, if that fight was to happen next, I think the winner would be Caroline. I feel like Caroline would beat her. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. But yeah, go on, Az. What's your take on the fight and what's next for Caroline?
Caroline Dubois a tough night's work, isn't she? Let's be honest.
For anyone,
some power in it, and that's the problem. And the ferociousness as well for a female boxer. She's like a mini Mike Tyson. So, like you say, she's got to come through that. But see, I thought Terry against Dixon looked fantastic. I thought she was brilliant, possibly best we've ever seen her. And it was a really, really good boxing performance. As you say, she's a great boxer. Friday night, I just felt like the occasion might have got to her for the first few rounds. So although Terry boxed well, and she kept finding the backhand on that girl, who, as you say, she did look really basic. But I think she smothered her own work a little bit in the early rounds when she were open. And then that girl kind of got into a bit of a weird rhythm, and she's tough, and she kind of hung on, and she made it difficult. She was awkward. So I think she could have stopped her had she put a foot down towards the end. But I think, the fight was won. And I just felt like Terry really, I wouldn't say she went through the motions, but she didn't put a foot down either. Do you know what I mean? She kind of, she was so comfortable in there. Sometimes you don't need to push.
Zimmerman's really 42 as well.
She got busted up at the end as well, didn't she? That was a horrendous cut. So, so she toughed it out. She got a payday. She boxed for a world title. She's 42. You got to be happy with that, I suppose, aren't you?
I think the news on the grapevine as well is Terry is now a free agent promotion wise, from what I've seen.
Yeah, she is.
That was the last fight for Matchroom?
Yeah, that fight, Matchroom allowed her to see out her contract with that fight, with it being a hometown fight and stuff like that. I think Matchroom and it's probably, for Terry, it's probably easier to make the Caroline Dubois fight not being with Matchroom.
You think she ends up going with Boxer?
For one fight, probably Boxer might offer her a 2-fight deal. Actually, they'll probably offer her a 2-fight deal, because if she does what they don't believe she can do, because let's be honest, if Boxer's going to sign her, it's to sign her for Caroline. They will want options if Terry can be. If Terry beats Caroline, that rematch will happen. So I think it's probably a 2-fight deal. What they'll offer, they'll probably offer Terry. But
people got to bear in mind as well is, even though she's had a long career, Terry's only 27.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. Like she's still got, even though, because people used to write Terry off and say, "Oh, she's lost now. She's done. She's this." No, she's not done. She's only 27. Like, she has got loads of talent. She's got a long career ahead of her.
Yeah, over 10 years if she wants it.
Yeah, fans do it all the time. Fans do it all the time. A fighter takes a loss and they want them to be done. They don't even look at the variables of this. At the end of the day, this is a sport, and only one fighter can win. You know what I mean? You can win and lose and carry on your career. You've got plenty of fighters. Look at Dubois. Dubois is a world champion. Did anybody think he'd be a world champion after he quit against Joe Joyce? So,
no, exactly.
You know what I mean? So the boxing fans.
Well, he had a broken eye, so I'll give him a pass. for that one.
Yeah, boxing fans need to be more realistic on. At the end of the day, this is a sport, and you go past losing one fight. Fighters are still in there with 12, 13 losses. It don't make a difference. Chisora is still fighting at the highest of levels with what, 12 losses.
Terry is. She's been up and down weights as well. She's not stuck at one weight, so her losses have come out of her comfort zone a lot of the time. Like Sandy Ryan. Was it Sandy Ryan?
Yeah, Sandy Ryan.
Yeah.
So
Sandy was too big for her. That weight class. Terry didn't belong in that weight class.
Way too big.
Yeah, way too big for her. I felt like Terry was going to lose that one. It's just the weight classes. Sometimes you can get into a weight class and win a championship against the right opponent.
Boone Gardner was juiced off red, weren't she?
Well, you don't tell a drug test for no reason. That's all I can say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
She's been in some good tough fights. Well, like we said, Natasha.
I was there that night.
I was there that
night when she got starched by Boone Gardner, and she just looked. Her physique just looked incredible.
We'll just touch on. We've near enough done an hour just on that card.
I just want to touch on Moses Atama.
Moses. Well, there's a couple of fights we'll touch on that. We'll go over it. It's all right. We haven't got Rico in our ears today.
But Moses Atama against Mike Balogun. Man,
that knockout, that shot is madness. Just on the back foot, just throwing it, and he didn't even look like he threw it with power. It looked like
he used his momentum, didn't he?
Yeah, it was like it looked like just a quick reaction shot. He
drew him on. He drew him on, used his momentum, and just pinged him.
Yeah, lovely shot.
The guy is on. It doesn't look like, even you look at it, you think of a heavyweight boxer, you think of someone like AJ Dubois. You think of these big men. Yeah, he don't.
I don't know. He's 250 pounds, isn't he?
I know.
But he don't look it. Like, it doesn't look like that. It looks like he's got like a nice, like, innocent.
I don't know. If you go outside of him, the crazy big is everywhere.
I've always thought Peter Fury was like quite short compared to like.
He's a big man.
I stood next to him on Friday, and I said to Ricky, I went, "He's huge."
Yeah, he's big.
It's like Dave Allen.
He is fucking big.
Whenever you bump into Dave, he's absolutely massive. He's a right unit.
Yeah,
people
just saying heavyweight.
Yes, he could make cruiserweight. Not a chance. You'd have to chop his leg off. He's enormous.
Atama.
Go on, Ricky.
Honestly, it doesn't waste nothing. He's fast. He's powerful. He's got good shot selection. He moves. He can move well around him. He's got great IQ. This guy, like, he's got near enough everything and I can see why they're trying to fast track him. They've already got him out apparently on the Usyk and Dubois card. Woman's ruled out Bacoli today as an opponent, but he's gonna be. I don't know who you put him with next, and I don't know who's going to want to get in with him next, because they say Bacoli is a bogeyman. He is not a bogeyman. This guy is a fucking bogeyman. Yeah, and he's 20 years old, guys. 20.
And I've always been of the opinion that Martin Bacoli's overhyped. Everybody said the sparring thing is. When I say overhyped, he beat Jared Anderson. Bearing in mind, before the Jared Anderson fight, Bacoli, he'd fought Hunter about 15 years ago. That was his best win. And didn't really do anything. And it was like, everybody's ducking Martin Bacoli. And then even when he went in with Joseph Parker, everyone's like, I think he beats Parker. I was like, one, on late notice he ain't beating Parker. And two, I don't think he beat Parker anyway. I don't think
he beats like £300 for that fight, wasn't it?
They pulled him off a sun lounger, didn't they?
Yeah.
You had to get about 8 flights to get to Saudi.
Yeah, I don't know how they move him. I really don't, because with how he's moving, it's like he's moving like AJ was when he turned pro.
Yeah.
Where he's just going through these guys who were like, this guy's going to be a test. No, knocks him out. This guy's going to be a test. Nope, knocks him out. This guy's going, and he's moving. And I said when he turned pro that after the Ring magazine, I was like, they are suiting him to take AJ's place as the face of heavyweight boxing. how they're moving him. He's got the ability, how he speaks. They've got him in front. Name another heavyweight they've got in front of the cameras as much as they have this kid. This kid is from. He was at the Ring Magazine. Bearing in mind, he's only just turned 20. He was at the Ring Magazine Awards, getting an award. I don't know, prospect of the year. He is. Yeah. They are grooming him to be the face of the heavyweight. How he speaks. How he speaks. He speaks really well for a 19, 20-year-old. How he carries himself. How he analyzes his performance after fight.
Yeah, so calm.
He oozes that aura of nothing gets to me, nothing can get to me.
When he walked back to Ben Davison and he just took his gun shield out and all like, and how calm he was.
That it's like AJ. He literally, I swear to God,
he's been groomed, hasn't it?
It's amazing.
AJ's mannerisms in camp or whatever, but them two, he's so cool, calm, and collected in how.
Would he beat AJ now?
What?
Would he beat AJ now?
No, I don't think so. No,
I think it's too soon.
I don't know.
There's levels to this game. But listen,
I don't think they'll do it. They'll not do it, but
they'll never do it. They're in the same
sharp.
Gym. They're in the same gym. AJ don't need to be.
No, is he still there? Is he still with Ben Davison?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's still with Ben. Well, I don't know. He's still with Ben as far as I know.
So the next one, we'll not go through the full cards. We'll be here forever.
We'll go to
Nathaniel Collins and Liam McGregor.
Yeah, that was the one I wanted to go to. Yeah,
this one. Well, I don't know if I was talking to you or who, but again, I thought this one was going to steal the show, and I think it did a little bit. To be fair, it was a really good scrap. Nathaniel Collins, so sharp, so dangerous. That guy punches from all angles. Every shot solid. Liam McGregor, I felt a bit for him. He just couldn't keep up. And he was just starting to build some momentum of his own. I liked Liam McGregor. I picked him for this fight just because I liked him. Nathaniel Collins, great performance. Great performance. Hurt McGregor all night long. Just a good fight. Really fight. He's going to be a problem, that Collins. Again, I think he's going to be moved on now. And he deserves it because he's just shown. I think he said he had some of his own demons. He battled through some mental health or whatever it is. Didn't look into it too much.
Cancer or whatever. Is it cancer he had?
I don't know. He said he had some sort of demons in his interview, so he's come back and you can see with emotion. He had a lot of emotion. He had a lot of respect, and he was friends with Liam McGregor. So to be able to do that to somebody that you know and respect and like is some killer instinct right there. Awesome performance.
This is the thing what annoys me about boxing. You listen to, because obviously I hear and see a lot of like the American side, and when they're friends with someone who's like, oh no, we're friends, I'd never fight him because we're friends. We've got these British fighters. How many of them are friends? Reece Mould, we was talking to Lewis, and him and Lewis and Reece know each other and they're quite cool with each other. But yet went out there and fought each other like it was nothing. Like these lot need to realize it's a business and a sport. Play each other. You know what I mean? If I had to play my brother at football, I'd be playing him at football. It don't make no difference.
Oh man, we're getting double third.
But that fight, like you said, Nathaniel Collins, every time he touched Lee, he seemed to hurt Lee. Lee McGregor actually wasn't boxing that bad. I just think the power of Collins really affected him, and Collins put his shots together pretty well, and the finish was emphatic. It was a very good finish from him. When he knew he had him hurt, he went for the kill. How's it gone?
I didn't actually catch it, you know.
Oh, did you not catch that one?
No, but I do really rate Collins. I've seen him a few times now, and I thought it was a bit of a step up for him, obviously. And we're one of them where he's either going to blow him out or he's going to struggle.
Yeah,
and he did really well, didn't he? I've only seen the highlights.
It didn't look like a step up. It looked like he belonged in there. It didn't show McGregor too much respect. He went in, did his job.
I just got home as it had finished and sounded like he'd just done a number on McGregor.
Yeah, swarmed him. Basically swarmed him. We'll move on then to the Josh Taylor and ERF fight.
Great fight.
This one was, go on. I'm gonna let you go if you want.
I was just gonna say I really enjoyed it. That's all. thought it was great. Brilliant
Yeah,
fight.
it's one of those where Taylor, I didn't know what to expect. Like, he was moving up in weight against Essuman. Essuman's not really been tested. I know he beat with Owen Cooper and he beat Congo recently. I kind of thought like this was going to be a big step up for Essuman, and it was. In the first 2 rounds of that fight, you could see the difference in levels with Taylor. Taylor absolutely peppered him, in my opinion. The shots, the quality of the shots, everything just absolutely. And I don't know if I haven't seen too much of Essuman, so I don't know if Essuman's just a slow starter. But as the rounds moved on, Taylor couldn't keep up the pace, and Essuman just got going. I can see why it's called the engine, because once he started running into each round he got stronger and stronger and stronger. And by round 12, it looked like he could go another fucking 20. It was like
he's always like
not
that.
even. Yeah, and I was, like I said, I've not seen too much of him, and I was very surprised how fit he was. Like Taylor, he was just gone, weren't he? He just looked exhausted in there. It was gone.
The Chris Congo fight was a little bit similar, obviously not at the level, but Congo were winning the fight. But the back end of the fight, Echo just hunted him down and slowed him and ended up taking over. This was really a fight of 2 halves with Taylor and Echo, whereas he won the last 6 rounds for me. I scored it exactly the same as Carl Frampton on the night, like round for round. I think it was quite an easy fight to score, to be honest.
It was.
I had Taylor winning the first probably 5-4 of the first 6 rounds, probably 5. I give Echo, I think, round 3, and then I gave him the last 6. And I think most people had it like that.
Yeah, but I think I had it like that.
I agree with you on the quality of Taylor to start with. To me, it looked like it was just going to be a shutout, and I thought Taylor might end up stopping him. But then all of a sudden, he just seemed to lose strength, and his legs seemed to go. And I don't know. There's rumours of him not living the life for years now. And so I watched that documentary years ago when he came into the gym to get ready for Catchall 1, and he was about 2-3 stone overweight, and he catches up with shit like that, especially at the back end of your career. And moving up in weight. I mean, let's be honest, he's not gone in there with a nobody. Echo's a very accomplished British level guy who's probably European fringe world level. But he's done a number there on Taylor, and that's Taylor, who's a former undisputed world champion.
The only one of the 4 belt era as well.
The levels have just gone. It was a good fight. It was a very competitive fight. In the end, Taylor got well outworked, but for me, Taylor at his best, Echo won't get anywhere near him, as he's shown in the first few rounds. But,
it was just maintaining that pace, weren't it?
Yeah.
For him. Like you said, Josh Taylor not had the credit he deserves of his entire career. Like, this guy is the only British fighter of the 4 belt era to be undisputed. Like, people need to put some respect on this guy's name, because fair enough. The thing that I saw with him as well, because I know Essuman's older than Taylor, but Taylor's career has had some wars, and like that, his age will probably be older than Essuman's career-wise, because like we say, he's been in some wars, been in some big, tough fights, and it's like you say, he's probably not lived the lifestyle coming in 2-3 stone overweight before camp. Me and Eric had the conversation with CJ about fighters probably should be held more accountable and more responsible for living a more professional lifestyle outside of camps, like what footballers do. To be fair, Terry Harper does that as well. Very professional, but I feel like I don't like saying it about fighters at all, and I'm gonna not like saying this, but I just think Taylor now, his days are numbered. I think his days are numbered, and it's a shame, because I'm a big fan of Josh Taylor, big fan.
The only reason why, for me, his days are numbered is the level he wants to box at. Taylor ain't gonna go down in the levels.
You don't want to see him there, though, neither. We don't want to see him there.
No, you don't want to see him there. He doesn't want to go down in the levels. We don't want to see him there. And I don't know how many fights he wins at the top level now.
He's been very active, hasn't he?
Yeah. The Essuman fight, I've got my scorecard here. I scored it, I think, round 1 and round 2 to Josh, round 3 to Echo, round 4 was one of those rounds where I thought it could go either way. So I gave it to Echo. So I'll give it 2-2. I was like, I'll give it Echo 2-2. and Josh came back 5 and 6. I felt Josh won 5 and 6, and then he didn't win a single round after that. The second half of the fight, he lost every round. I don't know what was up with his corner situation. I don't know why they was lying to him.
Loaded, weren't they,
Why they was lying to him, telling him that he was up is crazy.
Now he's done that before, though. I've seen him do that in the corner before.
It's crazy. He kept telling him, he's like, "Nah, you're up. Oh, you may have lost that one, but he needs the next 2 rounds." And I'm like, "No, you need the next 2 rounds, bro."
Look at Liam Smith when they had him in against Thingy last month.
McKenna, yeah.
McKenna. Some stuff they were telling him in corner there, you know, he was washed. He's done. He's finished. You know, his career's done. And they should have pulled him out of that fight. I know they wanted him to go out in his shield 12 rounds, but he was just getting beat up.
He got
getting battered.
I've never seen somebody like as good as what Liam Smith is get slapped about like that in my life.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want to see for Taylor.
Don't want to see
Taylor. Don't want to be like that. Taylor's
too good to be like that.
The only thing I'd say with Taylor is what you just highlighted on Eric, is he has moved up in weight. He is inactive. If he has a couple of 8 or 10 rounders, which he's not going to do because he's Josh Taylor, could he find his feet at the weight? Has he still got enough to give? Has he just not done the camp right, the weight moving up? Because he did look great for 6 rounds. He looked okay.
Really good.
And then he just unravelled, which...
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I was watching it and I was trying to work out what was he doing.
He don't look shot, does it? He don't look shot.
No, because he was boxing well, but the second half of the fight, there seems to be no go about. I don't know whether it was his corner telling him that he was comfortably winning and didn't put a rocket up his ass and saying, "Listen, you've lost the last 2 rounds. You need to." Because I think Josh Taylor, like Ricky said, listen, you don't become undisputed. Boxing fans can say whatever they want about fighters. You don't become undisputed unless you're a great fighter. And Josh Taylor is that, and he certainly was that. I thought Jack Catterall beat him certainly on the first fight. The second fight for me was closer than the first fight.
I had Josh winning in that second fight.
Yeah, I had Jack winning the second fight, but I thought it was closer than the first fight. But Josh Taylor now, I thought, like I said, the first 6 rounds really good, boxed really well. The 7th and the 8th round, you can sort of give him a bit of leeway where Essuman gets back into the fight. That can happen. You can win a couple of rounds, lose a couple of rounds. That can happen. But losing 6 rounds on the bounce, and I'm not being funny. I scored it that way. You scored it that way. Ricky scored it that way. I don't get how Joe McNally and his corner couldn't see that Josh wasn't winning. Josh wasn't winning them rounds. I don't understand.
I expected him to rally. I expect him to rally last round and win the last round and make it a draw on the cards. That's what I was thinking might happen, because it would have been controversial if it had been a draw. Because I had Echo by 2, but
the problem with that is Josh has already used all his luck up on a close card. They ain't gonna give it to him ever again. It's not gonna happen. You only get the rub of that green, especially of the magnitude it was as well.
Unless you're Canelo.
Well, yeah, the magnitude. Yeah,
he gets bypassed.
Hey, listen, they've stopped giving it to Canelo though, because Bivol they couldn't rob Bivol.
Just as we close out, what do you guys think to the news of Delicious Ori retiring from boxing?
Yeah, did you know that? Yeah, I didn't send it to you actually. I should have sent it to you. Delicious Ori has announced his retirement after 1 fight.
I didn't even see his fight. I heard he didn't look good.
We spoke on it after his fight, and no, he didn't look good. He looked quite stiff. He looked quite
like he didn't want to be there. He didn't have that killer instinct.
He looked like he was scared to throw the shots. It was a bit weird. It was like he got himself into position, but he was refusing to throw the right shots. And it was quite weird, because I said, last week or when was it, Ricky? I said, Delicious Ori, since his debut, we haven't seen anything of him. Even
one more talking about activity of fighters.
You didn't even get a post-fight interview with him. I think there was like one little interview with him that came out But apart from that, there was nothing about it. And I was like, it's a bit weird. We've not heard about him after his debut. Someone like that who has a debut, who has like obviously this highly anticipated debut, he doesn't do well. Normally, you get him back out straight away. You get him in the public eye so people can see him and actually get to know him as a personality and ignore the performance sort of thing. But he just sort of went into hiding, and then today it popped up that he's retired. So
That's strange.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Did he give a reason or?
He's put a statement out saying he fell out of love with it, didn't he? He had a good amateur career. He fell out of love with it. What he's doing is he's going
into corporate.
He's capitalizing on his degree that he got in uni, and he's going into corporate career. So at the end of the day, like if your heart's not in it no more, then you feel like
to be fair, boxing is a hard game to be in.
Yeah,
when you don't want to be there.
It is a shame because you've got Leo Watan coming through, you've got Atama, you've got Delicious Ori. Well, these guys could have been like that next generation, so it probably puts a little bit of a dampener on that one. But we'll see. There'll be somebody else boxing moves.
I believe he probably saw the bad side of boxing after that performance. That's what's happened.
Yeah, probably.
He's seen the bad side of boxing business. And he's thought, I wake up every morning training my ass off for this, and this is the thanks I get. No, I'm dipping. I know he got offered a WWE contract as well, didn't he?
I don't know. I know Anthony Gogo gave it a go.
Yeah, so it's a bit like Anthony Gogo, isn't it?
Yeah.
He suffered.
He had to retire, didn't he?
Yeah, because of his eye. I was gutted for him actually when that happened.
Yeah,
really good, weren't he, Anthony Gogo?
Nice guy, wasn't he?
Yeah. I was really good for him. But that's the end of the show tonight. We've got 78 people watching. Most people watching is on Twitter. So if you could
shout out to X.
Just like and retweet, please. We'll appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. If you want to tell people where to find you for the boots, how they can contact you and stuff like that. To do any, it's not just football, it's not just boxing boots, it's trainers and stuff like that as well. So go on, Az.
Yeah, so I've got two businesses. Do custom trainers, which is I'm the Renovation, which is on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, all that business. And then obviously the boxing one is Switch Hitter Customs, which I run with Junior Witter. And there's all sorts on there. If anyone wants any boxing gear, sorting any boots or anything like that, any kits, we also work alongside Shay's Custom Boxing Wear. They're in Doncaster.
Yeah, as I need to talk to you about something anyway. Tomorrow,
all right.
I'll shout you.
Sounds kinky.
Tomorrow.
Don't like sound of this, Eric.
No, you just reminded me. As you said that, you just reminded me of something I needed to do.
Yeah,
I'll shout you tomorrow about it.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for having me on, lads.
It's been great.
Everyone that's watching as well, if you could get like I've got 78 people watching live, which is probably the best we've done, if I'm honest. Guys, there's a comment section there. We will address all comments, speak to you as long as it's respectable. It makes the show a lot better place for us as well. We really enjoy it. Thank you to everybody that took part in the boxing league. Well done, Ra, as well. You were the top scorer of the weekend. Eric and me are tied at number 1. So Eric's pushing that.
It's not fixed. We promise it's not fixed.
We're just that good. But
if we was at the bottom of the league, nobody would be watching this because we'd just be talking.
Because they'd be like, "What the fuck are these guys on about?"
A boxing podcast at the bottom of a boxing league.
Check out our interviews as well. We've got one with Dalton Smith. We've got one with Ellie Hellawell. We've got one with Louis Sylvester. All instant reactions as well. If you like what you see, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and that'll be me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in the comments as usual. WCS, Libster, Ra, Trey, thanks for coming in and getting involved. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back on Thursday where CJ will be back with us, and I think we've got another guest on Thursday, so full of guests lately. But yeah, we'll catch you on Thursday. Peace.
It's another band. All the Muslim cars now, which I back it up. Light up my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a back body. So, it's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one, yeah.